Hey friend, please subscribe. 1 second for you. Big deal for me.
When I walked into the Langridge boardroom that Monday morning, I was already sweating through my collar. Not from the heat, it was March in New York, but from the way Peter Langridge looked at me like I was just some intern who wandered into the wrong meeting. I wasn't. I was running sales and project ops for his real estate firm, Langridge Urban Development, LUD. Nice name, huh? My name's Frank Reed. I was 28 at the time, based in Manhattan. Had the company car, an overpriced high-rise rental, and a work phone that rang more than it should have. All of it came with one string. I was working under my older brother Dave, the golden boy married into the Langridge family like it was royalty. The future was supposed to be locked in, if I played it smart. Dave already had 2 kids, a corner office, and a voice that sounded like he was always narrating his own highlight reel. Our parents never hid it. Dave was the one who made them proud. Me, I was the hard worker. Nice effort, Frankie. Always Frankie, never Frank. Quick note. Before we start, share in the comments, how's your day going and where are you joining from? And let's continue. My fiancée, Casey Donovan, was 24, sharp as hell, and smoother than bourbon. She had a network across the city like a wedding planner without the clipboard. Every venue, every caterer, every backdoor reservation. When she said she wanted a waterfront ceremony in Greenpoint with plaster white walls and string lights, it wasn't a suggestion. The place booked out a year in advance. She got it in 3 weeks. It was supposed to be my big break. The moment everyone looked at me like I wasn't just Dave's shadow. Tyler Brooks, my best friend since junior year, knew what I was up against. He freelanced AV gigs, bars, museums, weddings. He'd done walkthroughs with me at LUD. He knew how Peter Langridge treated me like a seat filler and how Dave kept tossing me garbage vendor lists and telling me to just sign off. And I almost did, on this Midtown rezoning project. The numbers looked funny. Real funny. The kind of funny that ends with subpoenas. But Dave told me the contractors were vetted, said I needed to trust the process. What he meant was, shut up and rubber stamp it so he could call in favors later. Then there was Casey's dad, Mark Donovan, a real charm monster. He kept pulling me aside to say things like, you know, a real husband protects the nest, and a son-in-law steps up without asking too many questions. What he meant was, do as you're told and don't embarrass us. They were all squeezing me from different sides. Dave at work, Mark at home, Peter above. And Casey? She said after the honeymoon we'd move into this new condo near Gramercy, all white marble and dark wood. She wanted my name second on the deed for tax reasons. I should have said no, should have asked more questions. But I swallowed it. Pickles, my scrappy little mutt, was the only living thing that gave me the same look every single day. No judgment, no fake smiles. Just that sideways trot and a tail wag like clockwork. When I came home from those soul-crushing meetings or Casey's planning sessions that felt more like strategy briefings, he'd nudge my leg and flop next to me on the couch like none of it mattered. But something did matter. Something small. A pattern I'd missed. Dave and Casey were always off in corners at family events, laughing at some inside joke. Casey would say things like, "You're the steady one, Frank," like it was a compliment, but it felt like a sentence. I told myself to ignore it. Keep my head down. Focus on the wedding. 186 guests. Waterfront warehouse. Custom lighting. Handwritten vows. But under all that polish, something was rotting. I just hadn't seen the full picture yet. It was coming, though. And when it hit, it wasn't a crack in the glass. It was a brick through the damn window. I was halfway through my second bourbon when Dave tapped his glass. Said he had to hop on with lenders in London, and ghosted out of the rehearsal dinner. That was around 9:15 p.m. We were at this sleek spot in Tribeca, with concrete walls and Edison bulbs. Casey's pick, obviously. The food was all small plates, which meant I was still hungry after 4 rounds. Everyone was buzzed, laughing at things that weren't funny. Mark Donovan was doing his whole father of the bride bit, bragging about how the Donovan family rises to the occasion. Peter Langridge was shaking hands like it was a campaign stop. Casey was off taking photos with her bridesmaids, posing like a lifestyle influencer. Then my phone buzzed. I thought maybe it was Tyler or my mom checking on tomorrow's start time. Instead, I see a text from Casey. Room 1207. Bring your key card. Don't make me wait again. There was a photo. Bathroom mirror. Towel barely on. Her hair was damp. Makeup half done. Meant to look spontaneous. Staged as hell. But here's the part that burned. It wasn't meant for me. I stared at it so long the screen went dark. I just sat there, heart stuck somewhere in my throat. Then the second message came. A voice note. I pressed play. Her voice was breathy, low. She was whispering and giggling. Did you lock the hallway door this time? You know how risky last time was? My whole body went still. Like my brain just hit a kill switch. Everything in the restaurant, the clinking forks, the laughing, the ambient jazz, just dropped out. I hit save on everything. Screenshots of the text, voice memo, message metadata, timestamp, 9:37 p.m. Then I stood up. Quiet. Nobody noticed. I walked out the side door into the alley and called Tyler. He picked up on the first ring. What's up? I need you here. Tribeca. That alley behind Servo. Now he was there in 10 minutes, breath fogging in the air, messenger bag over his shoulder. I didn't say a thing, just handed him the phone. He listened to the voice note once, face locked. No questions, no shock, just that slow head shake. Okay, he said. We don't freak out. We don't confront. We collect. We build the wall brick by brick so if they try to gaslight you, they bounce off it. He started typing before I could even speak. First, we check the hotel's social media. Most of these places post lobby shots every hour. If he's there, it'll be on something. Sure enough, the hotel had a story from 9:33 p.m., a panning shot of the lobby fountain. 2 seconds in, Dave walks by in a Yankees cap, head down. Timestamp matched. At 9:35, there's another clip. Casey walks in from the revolving door, glancing toward the elevators. Tyler saved the stories and their timestamps. They're idiots, he said. They think secrecy means not tagging the location. But it's all out there. We left the alley and walked up Canal Street in silence. I didn't trust my voice yet. I felt like my own ribs were choking me. Back at my apartment, I powered up my work laptop and scrolled through flagged emails. 2 weeks back, I found it. An alert from LUD Compliance. Unusual login activity from your credentials at 1:14 a.m. I hadn't noticed it at the time. That same week, Dave had asked to borrow my tablet to finish a pitch deck. I said aloud, he logged into my account in the middle of the night. Tyler pulled up the IT logs. Same IP address used to upload the modified vendor spreadsheet. Of course. I looked down at Pickles curled under the table, his eyes tracking me like he knew something was off. I took a breath and made the call. Nadine Park answered on the second ring, cool as a winter sidewalk. It's Frank, I said. I have a situation. Wedding's tomorrow. My brother and my fiancée are... I stopped. Didn't need to say it. I'm listening, she said. I laid it out. The texts, the photo, the voice note, the Instagram story, the IT logs. Her voice didn't budge. Do not confront. Do not send anything. Do not delete anything. Save it all, lock it down, and do not sign a single document tomorrow. I wasn't going to marry her. I'm saying don't sign the venue paperwork either. Anything with your name, don't touch it. She paused, then added, what was sent to you is yours. You own that message thread. You're allowed to display it at your own private event, on your own equipment, so long as you don't show explicit content or reveal anyone's private data beyond names and timestamps. Could I, if I wanted to, make it public? Not online. At the wedding. You're the groom. You're not breaking any laws by telling the truth at your own ceremony. She gave me her cell and said she'd be in Brooklyn by morning. I almost fell apart right there. Tyler leaned forward. You crack now, they'll twist it. They'll say you lost your mind the night before. You let it happen, you ruin the moment. They get to control the story. He was right. So we sat, built folders, saved everything twice, set up backups. Tomorrow, Tyler said, we show them who you really are. I nodded. My hands were still trembling, but my voice finally came back. Good, I said. Let them all watch. Tyler pulled his gear case off the shelf like we were setting up for a corporate pop-up, not a wedding meltdown. Inside was his short-throw projector, small as a loaf of bread, matte black, and deadly quiet. We tested it against the living room wall. Projection was crisp, no lag, colors sharp even under lamplight. Bright enough for a warehouse with skylights? I asked. If it's dusk or later, it'll slap, he said. That plaster wall's gonna make it pop like a movie screen. We got to work. First slide, Casey's message. That text. Room 1207. Bring your key card. Don't make me wait again. Timestamp top right. 9:37 p.m. Friday. Second, the selfie. Crop to remove anything too revealing. Face clear. Bathroom background matching the hotel's promo pics. Next, a freeze frame from the Instagram lobby video. Dave walking past the fountain, baseball cap pulled low, overlaid with a clock face and timestamp. Tyler even zoomed in on the hotel's branded rug, just in case someone tried to call the footage fake. Fourth slide, her second message, a voicemail clip we'd add to the sequence, whispering, laughing. Did you lock the hallway door this time? After that, we dropped in the compliance email from 2 weeks back. Unusual login under my name, 1:14 a.m., remote access log showing my LUD credentials in use. Pulled from the audit system. We highlighted the line showing the device ID. Same one Dave borrowed for the pitch deck. Then came the Midtown vendor sheet. Left side, the approved contractor list I'd submitted, marked as original draft. Right side, the final version. Dave claimed to clean up. We highlighted all the changes in red, company names swapped out, one vendor tied to a shell company out of Jersey, 2 others flagged in previous city lawsuits. The edit log showed it plain. Freed logged in, 1:14 a.m. No reason for that timestamp to exist except the tablet being used by someone else. And only one someone had it. Tyler added the hotel receipt. We found it buried in Casey's Gmail. She'd forwarded it months ago for points tracking. Her name on the rewards number matched to a Friday night booking for room 1207. Guest, anonymous. But the account holder, Casey Donovan. Last slide was a QR code, simple, big. It linked to a locked folder with the full slide deck and audio files. Tyler said, they scan it, they keep it. No spinning the story later, I sat down and recorded a 1-minute voiceover for the room. If anyone needs context, listen to this. Calm, flat, no drama in my voice, just the weight of it. Then we let Casey's voice memo follow. Unedited, normal volume. Her breathy laugh ringing out over silence. When that was done, I grabbed a sticky note and wrote in all caps, "You are not yelling. You are not crying. You are reading your facts." I stuck it on my bathroom mirror. Tyler stood by the door with the projector case, checking his watch. We run the AV through house HDMI. You stall them long enough, I'll cue the hit. I nodded. And if someone tries to rip the plug? Nadine's got us, he said. We'd texted her the plan. She said she'd station herself near the back row in a Navy suit, aisle seat. If anyone so much as raised a hand to block us, she'd step in. Licensed, calm, no theatrics, just enough legal weight to keep people in their seats. At 2:38 a.m., I sent my parents a short message. Love you both. See you tomorrow, I meant it. Whatever happened, they deserved that line. I didn't sleep. Pickles curled up at the foot of the couch, snoring like a tiny engine. I sat on the edge, staring at the ceiling. My hands were still, finally, no shaking. Just this sharp kind of clarity, like when glass breaks clean instead of shattering. At 6:15 a.m., I took him out. We walked down to the East River, where the wind came in off the water cold and rude. He sniffed the grass, did his business under a dying maple tree. I bagged it, tossed it in a bin, and caught a smear on my shoe. I looked down at it, half annoyed, half numb, and muttered, "Fitting." We kept walking. By 7 a.m., I'd showered, shaved, and slipped the ring box into the inside pocket of my jacket. The ring stayed inside. I wasn't planning to wear it. The box would be our quiet cue for Tyler. I wasn't throwing it. That would have been dramatic. I wanted to set it down. With a witness. Tyler buzzed up at 8:11 a.m., dressed like he was crewing a wedding shoot. He handed me a roll of black gaffer tape and a USB stick. "HDMI splitter just in case," he said. "Roxanne'll have house tech on standby, but if they flinch, we go direct." "Got it." "You still good?" I looked him straight in the eye. "No second thoughts?" "Not anymore." He nodded once, no smile. "Then let's light it up." We left at 8:30, rolling the cart down the elevator and out to his van. Projector locked. Slides backed up twice. QR printed. Power strip, spare cords, everything labeled. My hands didn't shake once. The second we pulled up to the venue, I knew the place was a lie. It was perfect. Sun bouncing off the East River, string lights overhead, and that stupid white plaster wall glowing like a blank movie screen just waiting for the opening credits. The staff had already set up the chairs in rows, the arch draped in gauzy fabric with cream flowers climbing up one side. The catering truck was backed into the alley, unloading racks of champagne flutes. Everything looked exactly how Casey said she wanted it. Clean but warm, industrial but romantic. Every inch of it screamed curated. Tyler rolled the AV cart straight to a bank of ferns near the house speakers. No one paid attention. We were just another vendor team in black polos. He crouched and ran the HDMI through a side port in the wall, tucked under a power strip labeled Mixer. Seamless. Mark Donovan found me first. Slate suit, polished shoes, and a face that said Senator, even though he was just an executive at some mid-tier logistics firm. He clapped a hand on my back and said, "You ready, son?" Big day. No cold feet now. "I'm here," I said. Flat. No smile. He didn't catch it. Elaine, Casey's mom, floated up behind him, all pearls and lip gloss. She air-kissed my cheek and whispered, "You look handsome, Frankie. Let me check the arches, one sec. Florals are everything in the photos." She floated off without waiting for a response, eyes darting toward the arch like she was calling the next cue in a Broadway show. Peter Langridge, the big boss himself, posted up near the bar like he was headlining the event. He shook hands like he was still in the boardroom. Clean grip, fake grin, always scanning for who mattered most in the room. He didn't say a word to me. Dave showed up loud, tan suit, no tie, Rolex peeking out from under his cuff, acting like he just closed a billion-dollar merger. He slapped the backs of two brokers from LUD like they were old war buddies, then made a beeline for the center of the action. Jenna, his wife, Peter's daughter, gave me a hug so stiff I thought her spine might snap. She pulled away fast and kept one hand on her purse. Their kids were tearing around the seating chart, knocking over name cards. No one stopped them. My parents were early, like always. Mom tugged at my jacket, tilted my chin, said, "You need powder, you're shiny." "Wait, I'll ask Elaine if she brought blotting paper." She didn't wait for permission, just went looking. Dad just stood there, big hands on my shoulders. He didn't say much, never did, but he leaned in and said, "Eyes forward. You've got this that landed." I gave him a nod. Then Tyler came over and whispered, "Cart's live." HDMI synced. No signal showing yet. One button and we're on. I turned to Roxanne, the venue coordinator, who was triple-checking table settings near the buffet. "I might want to run a quick thank you montage after the vows," I told her. "It's short. Shouldn't take more than 2 minutes." She smiled, all clipboard and lipstick. "Just cue me when you're ready." We've got the house system pre-wired. She didn't ask what was on it. A little after noon, the dog walker arrived with pickles. He practically lunged at me, tail flapping like a flag, tongue out like he hadn't seen me in years. I let him wiggle around for a few minutes while someone snapped a few candid shots. Casey had wanted some dog dad photos for the wedding book. As we stood near the bottom steps, Pickles lifted his leg and pissed right on the stone. "Really?" I muttered. Tyler grinned. "Symbolic. I like it." The walker looped him around the block again. We watched until he disappeared past a parked catering van. Inside, the venue was filling up. String quartet playing something soft. Bubbles and laughter. I stood near the edge of the aisle as guests took their seats. That's when I saw Casey. She was across the room near the welcome table, dressed in white, veil pushed back, surrounded by her bridesmaids. She was mid-laugh, hand resting on someone's shoulder like she owned the space. That shoulder was Dave's. I watched them, her head tilted toward him, his mouth close to her ear, laughing, joking, comfortable in a way that was never meant for siblings-in-law. Then she caught me watching. Her face snapped blank for a second, then flipped into this sugary smile so fast it made my stomach twist. She blew me a kiss and waved like we hadn't just pulled screenshots of her sneaking into a hotel with my brother 24 hours ago. Pastor Reyes came over, wiping sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. "Hey there, Frank. Just double-checking. Are we still good with the original vows, or did you want to make any last-minute changes?" "I'll speak from the heart," I said. He grinned like that was the most romantic thing he'd heard all week. "Beautiful. It's going to be a powerful moment if only he knew." By 12:50, the seats were packed. I counted around 180 heads. Friends from LUD were grouped near the front left, brokers with open collars and sunglasses tucked into shirt pockets. A few city consultants. Even one guy from zoning I recognized. The Donovan clan had a front-row wedge near the aisle, all pressed collars and tight-lipped smiles. Peter stood near the bar, still holding court. Elaine had retreated to the bridal area, probably fixing Casey's makeup or fluffing her veil. Dave was nowhere in sight now, probably in some corner texting. I stepped toward the ferns. Tyler texted me one line, "Cart hot. Green light from your pocket is the go." I reached into my jacket and tapped the ring box. No one else saw it, but I felt everything click into place. The wall was up. The lie was done stretching. All that was left was to push. I stood across from Casey under the arch, sunlight in my eyes, river glittering behind her like some Instagram filter come to life. Pastor Reyes smiled between us, giving that practiced intro about love and commitment. Casey turned toward me, smiling so hard her cheeks looked like they might split. Dave was 5 rows back, one hand on his son's shoulder like a proud uncle. They both looked like billboard models, polished, posed, perfect. I reached for the mic and cleared my throat. I want to say thank you to everyone here. For showing up, for dressing up, for making the time. It means a lot. Polite chuckles, a few claps, cameras lifted. "But before vows," I said, locking eyes with Casey, "I need to clear something so nobody here signs up for a lie." Her face twitched. Not enough for anyone else to notice. Just the corner of her mouth, like it didn't know whether to hold the smile or drop it. Dave didn't move. I reached into my pocket and tapped the ring box, our agreed cue. It wasn't just a signal, it was my release. Tyler hit play. The white wall behind the bar lit up 20 feet wide with the first slide. A screenshot of the text. "Room 1207. Bring your key card. Don't make me wait again." Time, 9:37 p.m., Friday. A few gasps. One woman put her hand to her mouth. Next slide. Casey in the bathroom mirror, towel on, hair damp, cropped to keep it clean, but no one could miss the intent. Then Dave, walking through the hotel lobby in a Yankees cap, caught on the hotel's public Instagram story, time-stamped 2 minutes earlier. You could feel the air crack. Casey's smile cracked in half. Her lips pulled tight like she was about to be sick. Dave went pale, then blotchy, then gray. Jenna turned in her seat so fast her hair whipped her shoulder, eyes locked on Dave like she was seeing him for the first time. I looked at the guests. People were whispering now. Not quiet whispers, sharp, frantic ones. I kept my voice steady. "These were sent to me by mistake. I saved everything. Timestamps, headers, message IDs. I tapped again. Her voice memo played out loud, no edits. Did you lock the hallway door this time? You know how risky last time was. You could hear her laugh. That light, flirty laugh she used to do with me. Now she just stared at the screen like it was showing her own funeral. The next slide hit. 2 columns. One labeled Original Vendor List, the other Final Submission. Differences lit up in red. At work, I said, there was a rezoning deal. Midtown. My login credentials were used to push a vendor list I didn't approve. The log shows that change happened at 1:14 a.m. Same night Dave had my tablet. I pointed at the red line on the slide. Same device, same account. Same night Peter Langridge didn't stand, not yet, but his face went from tight to stone. The man had made a career out of staying above messes. This one landed in his lap. I turned toward the guests. He's been sleeping with my fiancée, I said, and using my credentials at work. I'm not marrying into this. And I'm not taking a fall for that deal. Silence. Real silence. Even the string quartet stopped playing. Tyler tapped to the final slide, a clean black QR code on white. Full files available here, I said. Screenshots, video clips, audit logs, compliance notices. Nothing private beyond names and timestamps. If you were going to ask questions later, you don't have to. It's all there. Phones came out, fast. You'd think we were giving out VIP concert passes. Guests started scanning like their jobs depended on it, and for some of them, it probably did. Peter Langridge finally stood. Voice low, firm. Frank, I raised my hand. No meetings. No spin. Elaine sat slumped in her chair like someone had unplugged her. Jenna was still staring at Dave, blinking slow, like her brain couldn't catch up to the images. Mark Donovan stood but said nothing. His lips were pressed so tight they disappeared into his face. I stepped forward and placed the ring on the microphone stand. If anyone here still wants to do brunch, be my guest, I said. But as far as I'm concerned, this show's over. I walked off. No music played. No one stood to clap. Just 100-some bodies stuck in their seats, holding their phones, reading the same thing I'd been reading for hours. Tyler followed close behind me, pushing the AV cart like a roadie after the encore. Out front, he caught up to me. You want the ring? I shook my head. Keep it for now. He pulled it from his pocket and pressed it into my palm anyway. Don't let them take it. Even as a symbol. You set the terms today. That matters. I didn't say anything. Just curled my fingers around it and kept walking. Pickles wasn't back yet, but I imagined him sniffing the sidewalk, lifting his leg on that venue step like it was his own personal review. Felt about right. Jenna stood up slowly, like her legs weren't totally connected to the rest of her body. She looked at Dave, didn't say a word, just took her wedding ring off her finger, no hesitation, and slipped it into the breast pocket of his suit jacket like she was dropping a receipt. Then she turned around, called their kids over with a small nod, and walked straight out. No yelling, no meltdown, just quiet execution. Dave didn't move, not right away. His jaw tightened, shoulders up around his ears, face flushed red like a sunburn. He looked like he wanted to scream, but his tongue had turned to lead. Peter Langridge took 2 steps toward him, close enough that I could hear it. You're finished at LUD, he said, voice low and razor sharp. Clear your office by Monday. HR will place you on administrative leave. Expect the call. And the paperwork. Dave opened his mouth to argue, but nothing came out. Peter didn't wait for a response. He turned and walked out the side door like this was just another quarterly report that went sideways. Elaine tried to rush over, but Mark stepped between her and Casey, holding one hand out like a traffic cop. Elaine whispered, fast and desperate. Fix it. Just fix it. This can't fall apart now. Mark didn't answer. He just stared at Casey, who looked like she was about to pass out. Her makeup had cracked around her mouth. The veil was half off her head, bobby pins dangling down the back like she'd yanked them out herself. Dave stepped forward, one hand reaching toward the microphone. I didn't move, just looked him in the eye. Then Pastor Reyes, standing between us, lifted his hand and said, calm but solid. Son, not your turn. Dave blinked like he'd been slapped. He sat down. Casey turned, took one shaky step, then another, heels clacking across the concrete like gunshots. She didn't say a word, just bolted toward the door with the veil trailing behind her. Tyler and I followed at a distance, not rushing, not gloating, just walking. Right as she hit the sunlight outside, she stepped off the curb, directly onto the spot where Pickles had lifted his leg earlier. Her heel slid, the hem of her dress caught under her own foot, and she went down like a folding chair, screamed, caught herself on her hands, and smeared the back of her gown straight through a streak of dog piss. I know it's crude, I really do, but I laughed, once, out loud, couldn't help it. It just came out of me like pressure being released from a valve. Tyler snorted beside me. He tried to hold it in, but failed. Casey scrambled up, screamed at nobody, and stormed off down the block like a storm cloud on legs. Her dress was soaked in the back, veil trailing. Guests at the window watching everything. Inside, the spell had fully broken. My mom rushed toward me, eyes red, hands shaking. I'm so sorry, Frank, she said, choking on the words. I should have never compared you two. Not once, not ever. She wrapped her arms around me like she thought I might collapse. I didn't. Dad came up behind her, put one hand on my shoulder and gave it a squeeze. It wasn't like all those hollow ones from before. This was different. He looked me in the eye and nodded once. A man's hug. The kind you only get once in a lifetime. Security drifted in around the edges, calm but alert. They weren't pushing, just guiding. Roxanne, still holding her clipboard like a lifeline, walked up to one of the bartenders and quietly gave the signal. The house music cut. She turned to her team and said, "Start handing out water. No more alcohol. We need the crowd settled before exit." Mark turned toward me, nodded once, and said, "I'll handle the rest." I didn't need his blessing, but the way he said it, firm, in control, it pulled the heat out of the room. People started settling down. No one was shouting anymore. He turned to the crowd and said loud enough for the back row to hear, "We're canceling the ceremony. Please remain calm and exit in an orderly fashion. Staff will assist you. No protests, no applause, just quiet movement." Folding chairs creaked. Murmurs picked up again. Some people didn't look surprised. Those were probably the ones who'd already scanned the QR. I turned to Tyler. "Pack it up." He nodded. "On it." We wheeled the AV cart through the back like we were tearing down after a wedding band's last set. No rush, no panic. Just cables, cases, cords. Everything back in the bag like we'd rehearsed it. Out front, the dog walker came back around the corner, Pickles trotting along like nothing had happened. He saw me, perked up, and ran straight to my feet. Tail wagging, tongue out, eyes locked on mine like he'd solved the whole damn puzzle. I bent down, scratched his ears, and said, "You nailed the timing, buddy." The walker gave me a thumbs up and asked, "Still want him back for the second half?" "There's no second half," I said. "Thanks, though." She walked off, not asking any questions, just giving Pickles one last pat on the head. I looked up at the warehouse. People were still spilling out. Some of them were holding their phones like torches. Others just looked stunned, like they'd walked into the wrong wedding and stayed for the drama. Tyler came up beside me, dragging the last of the AV gear. "You all right?" he asked. I looked at the dog, then the street, then the broken line of guests waiting for Ubers or avoiding eye contact. "I'm not sure yet," I said, "but I'm better than I was an hour ago." He handed me a bottled water from his backpack. I cracked it open and took a long drink. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Dave come out the side door alone. No jacket, hands in his pockets. No one went to him. Not one person. I didn't say anything, just turned and walked. Pickles trotted beside me like the whole thing had been his idea. We didn't go home right away. Tyler drove us to a diner on Kent Avenue, the kind of place with cracked vinyl booths and a cook who didn't care if you ordered breakfast at 4 in the afternoon. Nadine was already there, seated at a corner table with a legal pad and 2 cups of black coffee waiting. She slid a sheet of paper across the table before I even sat down. Cancel anything not signed. Freeze joint accounts. Log every device and login you've used in the past month. She looked at me, steady as always. This isn't revenge. This is insurance. You document first, then disappear clean. I nodded and took the list. We ate in silence for a minute. Tyler cut into his pancakes like he hadn't just dropped a nuclear payload at someone's wedding. Nadine spoke again, low and direct. You're resigning from LUD. Effective today. Voluntary, on paper. One-line reason, ethical conflict. That's it. No pushback? I asked. She shook her head. They won't dare. You gave them 2 smoking guns on 2 fronts, internal fraud and personal misconduct. If they try to challenge it, we drop the rest. She pulled a flash drive from her bag. Put the compliance email, your device inventory, and the modified vendor list on this. Then email it to compliance. CC Gordon Shue, CFO, and LUD's General Counsel. I already drafted the note. I looked it over. 1 paragraph. Clean, dry, brutal. Tyler pulled his laptop from his bag. Already backed up the projector deck, audio and visual files to 2 encrypted drives. 1 for Nadine, 1 locked in my safe. Also uploaded a zip file to my cloud, password protected. He passed one of the drives to her. She tucked it away like it was nothing more than a receipt. My phone buzzed. 1 new text. Jenna, thank you for not letting me find out alone 3 years from now. I stared at the message for a second, then slid the phone face down on the table. We stayed at the diner for another 20 minutes, mostly going through line items, venue contracts, equipment rentals, liability waivers, every single thing Casey and I had signed together. Nadine flagged 3 that could cause future noise and gave me the language to kill them now, not later. Tyler tapped his screen and said, Your name's already off the condo paperwork. She filed the title request without you this morning. I blinked. Already? She knew the explosion was coming. She just didn't know when Nadine leaned in. And that, gentlemen, is why we don't leave anything floating. After that, we split. Tyler drove us back to his place. Pickles curled up in the passenger seat like he'd just clocked out from a 12-hour shift. My mom called on the drive. No lecture, no questions, just, will you come by tonight? I will. When we got to Tyler's place, I dropped my jacket on the floor, collapsed onto the couch, and let Pickles climb up beside me. Tyler handed me a blanket like he was running a shelter for the emotionally gutted. I slept. Not deep, but better than expected. That night, I sat on the back patio at my parents' house. Dad grilled steaks in the dark like nothing had happened, flipping them slow, silent. Mom brought out plates and asked how I wanted my eggs in the morning. Nobody mentioned the wedding. Nobody said Dave's name. We just ate. TV on in the background, forks clinking against ceramic, like men do when there aren't words to fix it. I left around 10. At midnight, another text came in. This one from Casey. 3 long paragraphs. Frank, I hope you understand this is bigger than both of us. Please don't make it worse than it already is. For everyone's sake, be discreet. Don't punish people just to prove a point. We all make mistakes. This doesn't have to define you or me. We were happy once. You know we were. I archived it without responding. Whatever guilt she thought I'd feel, it wasn't showing up. The next morning, Monday, Nadine was already on with LUD compliance. They scheduled interviews before noon. She looped me in on the calendar invites, just to make it official. At 9:38 a.m., I hit send on the resignation email. CC'd every name she told me to. No fluff, no emotion, just 4 sentences. By Tuesday morning, LUDHR pushed out a company-wide memo. Subject, Leadership Update, Project Operations Division. Body, Effective immediately, Frank Reed has resigned from his role due to an internal ethical conflict. Interim coverage will be managed by department leadership. Additionally, David Reed has been placed on administrative leave pending internal review. Questions should be directed to HR or the General Counsel's office. Tyler read it aloud from his phone. He glanced up and said, "That's one way to say we just got nuked from inside our own family." I stayed off social. Didn't need to see what people were posting. Tyler said clips from the projection had started floating, people tagging the QR, using it as proof at brunches, happy hours, even in comment threads under LUD's latest press release. "Your voiceover's already been screen recorded and posted on 3 wedding meme pages," he said. "Great," I muttered. "Exactly what I wanted. You're basically the fire marshal of Manhattan now." I didn't care. The people who needed to see it had seen it. The rest could speculate all they wanted. I wasn't chasing the narrative. I'd already told the truth with a 20-foot projector and a ring I didn't give away. Pickles lay across my feet as I drank cold coffee from a chipped mug on Tyler's patio. I felt mean. Not angry, mean. Like a wolf just getting used to its teeth again. "You regret it?" Tyler asked. "No," I said. "Not 1 second." He nodded, then added, "Good, because even if you did, we burned the bridge before anyone else could push you off it." That night, Nadine called one last time. No press. No extra comments. Let the paper trail work. I wasn't planning on saying anything, I told her. "Good," she said, "because they're still scrambling. And you're already free 9 days later they cut him loose. Terminated for cause." That part leaked fast. Compliance's earlier audit had already frozen the Midtown rezoning. No one tried to resuscitate it. Peter Langridge didn't defend the deal. Didn't defend Dave either. He called an emergency board meeting, and by the end of it, a senior VP from leasing had Dave's duties. No mention of Dave's name on the floor. They just erased him. Quiet, clean, corporate. Jenna filed for separation that same week. She didn't call me. Didn't have to. I heard through Tyler, who heard through one of the AV guys who worked LUD holiday parties. She stayed in the brownstone. Her sister picked up the kids from school for a week. Dave moved into a month-to-month sublet in Long Island City, some beige unit above a dry cleaner. That's what happens when you go from legacy hire to dead weight in under 2 weeks. My phone started blowing up. Co-workers, old interns, even a few VPs I barely knew. "Hey man, that was wild. You okay? Did you really find out the night before?" Legend. Straight legend. I didn't answer most of them. The few I did got short replies. "I'm fine. Handled. Moving on." I didn't owe anyone a full story. They already saw it on the wall. Mom asked me to stop by again. She didn't cry this time. Just sat me down at the kitchen table with a plate of cut fruit and said, "I didn't protect you." I always thought Dave needed the attention more. She couldn't look at me when she said it. "I just wanted you to know that I see it now." "I see you." I nodded. That was enough. Later that week, Dad pulled me aside while we were stacking firewood. He wiped his hands on his jeans and said, "If you want to work with me again, like you did back when you were 19, I'd take you on tomorrow. Lot of small rehab jobs in Queens. Nothing flashy, but it's honest work." I told him I'd think about it. And I meant it. Meanwhile, Casey started damage control. She told her friends we'd grown apart, said the wedding was just too much pressure, that we were both overwhelmed. A couple people believed her for about a day. Then the QR started making rounds again. People reposted the deck, shared screenshots. Someone even made a meme of the projector hitting that white wall like a courtroom exhibit. Casey never tried texting me again. Guess even she figured out that door was welded shut. Tyler, on the other hand, was riding a different wave. He landed 2 new AV clients off the back of that wedding. Both had been in the crowd. One ran an event space in DUMBO. The other was a production director for some rooftop lounge in SOHO. One of them actually said, "We saw how clean you ran that set. Even the transitions were tight." Tyler laughed when he told me. Best resume I never meant to hand out. Nadine stayed on me, helping untangle the financial stuff. She got half the venue deposit credited back, said they'd rather do that than deal with the PR. The caterer ate a third, said they understood. The band kept their retainer, but we knew that was coming. All in all, not a perfect recovery, but not a total loss. I took Pickles to the vet that Friday, just to get out of my head. Full checkup, blood work, ears, teeth. The doc ran through the list and said, "He's in great shape. Healthy little guy." I nodded, didn't say much, but that hit harder than I expected. Just needed one thing in my life to be okay without fine print. Nights got quieter. No more wedding emails, no planner check-ins, no spreadsheets. I started cooking again. Eggs, mostly. Cheap, quick, simple. I'd eat on the couch while Pickles gnawed at a toy in the corner. Sometimes I scrolled listings for small places near the river. Not luxury condos, just spots with clean floors and some air, a kitchen window, a place I could breathe. One night, Tyler sat across from me at his kitchen table, messing with audio files on his laptop. "You ever think," he said, "what would have happened if she never sent that text to the wrong guy?" I cracked my knuckles. Then I'd be married to a lie and getting burned at work. He nodded. So maybe the mistake was the favor. I didn't answer. Just sipped my coffee and stared at the blank tab on my screen. I didn't need a deep takeaway. I had the facts. I had my dog. I had time. And after the kind of storm we just walked through, that was more than enough. The place in Astoria didn't look like much from the outside. 2-story walk-up above a dry cleaner, busted awning, faded paint. But inside, the firm had 5 desks, 2 sharp project leads, and a real open-door policy. They brought me in as a consultant. No title games, no politics. I said a budget smelled wrong. They actually asked where. That was the whole difference. And it was enough. I kept hours I liked, took meetings I wanted, walked to the train without having to put on a fake face for a fake boss. Tyler and I picked up a side project, a 2-family in Ridgewood, light rehab, basic permits and upgrades, old wiring, bad layout, mold in the laundry nook. Nothing flashy, but it felt real. He handled the smart systems, site Wi-Fi, camera grid, a solid AV rig for the owner who wanted remote access. I handled the zoning, forms, fire code BS. We knocked it out in 8 weeks flat. One day on site, Tyler looked up from his cable map and said, "This beats wedding gigs." "Barely," I said, but I smiled when I said it. My dad came by one weekend with a bucket of tools and that quiet pride I hadn't seen in years. We patched a cracked window frame and rebuilt the cellar steps. He handed me a beer when we finished and said, "I always knew you had grit. You just hadn't been pushed hard enough to show it." It wasn't a speech. He didn't do speeches. That one line was all I needed. Mom stopped comparing. She stopped talking about how Dave's doing or reminding me how Jenna used to keep the perfect house. Now she just asked, "You need anything?" And actually meant it. I told her I was good. Most days that was true. A few months later I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten, no return address. But I recognized the careful script on the envelope. Jenna. She kept it short, said the kids were okay, said they were asking less about their dad now, said thank you for not letting her find out 3 years later when she would have had fewer options and more to lose. She said she was starting to breathe again. I sat on the porch and read it twice, then folded it up and stuck it in a drawer next to my lease. That was enough closure for both of us. Peter Langridge never called, never texted, not a word. And I didn't need him to. His silence was loud enough. He knew what had happened. He saw it all, 20 feet tall, same as everyone else. His daughter's wedding wrecked, his son-in-law canned, and his own name dented in a room full of investors. No apology coming, and none required. I stopped walking past the Greenpoint venue. First few weeks after, I used to loop that way on accident, like I wanted to feel something. Eventually, I just stopped. No point slicing open scabs to prove you still bleed. Casey texted once from a new number. First message was just, "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. Next day she tried again, some vague apology dressed in neutral language. Nothing real in it. I blocked the number without reading the rest. There's a kind of peace that only shows up when you don't reply. Pickles started sleeping at the foot of my bed again. Same corner, same snore, same weird sideways sprawl like he was guarding me. I stopped living like I was waiting for something, cleaned the dishes after eating, took the trash out before it piled, even bought a new shower curtain. Black, plain, no floral print. One night I sat on the couch, looked around, and realized the place didn't feel like a holding pen anymore. It felt like where a man lived. I had my cash in a separate account, a small truck, fully paid, a short list of people I trusted. Tyler, Nadine, my parents, Jenna, no fluff, no entourage, just the ones who'd showed up when it counted. I remember writing it down on a napkin one morning. Tight beats loud. Every time, it stayed true. 1 year to the week after the non-wedding, I loaded up my old Tacoma with a duffel bag, a toolbox, and Pickles' crate in the back seat. The mattress stayed behind, the couch too. A consignment guy came the day before, handed me a wad of cash, and didn't ask a single question. He looked around, nodded once, said, "Decent stuff," and that was the end of it. At 5:04 a.m., I turned the key in the ignition, pulled out of the parking garage, and didn't look back until I was halfway across the bridge. The skyline sat behind me like a painted lie, all sharp edges and glass. I rolled the window down, let the wind slap me in the face, and for the first time in years, my chest felt light. Not free. Not yet. But light. I wasn't running. People always say that when you leave a place suddenly. But I wasn't. I was done shaping myself around other people's expectations. I wasn't walking out of anything. I was just walking back toward myself. The fallout from everything had finished its slow collapse months earlier. Compliance at LUD closed the investigation. The city shelved the Midtown rezoning indefinitely. A note went around from the IT department about credential hygiene and remote access protocol. No one said my name. They didn't have to. The silence was its own admission. My parents drove up a couple weekends after I settled into the new place. Not much to look at. Small one-bedroom with a porch and a loose step. But it was mine. Dad brought his tool belt and fixed the handrail. Mom brought lasagna and sat on the porch with Pickles like she'd done it 100 times. She even called him her grand dog at one point. I let her. Tyler came a few weeks later, dropped a box on my counter and said, "You can thank me later." I opened it. Brand new projector. "Didn't you just get this for that lounge gig?" He smirked. "Yeah, but that one's for work. This one's for movie nights, not ambushes." We laughed too hard at that, like actual belly laughs, the kind you don't fake. Then, months down the line, one last twist rolled in. Email from legal at LUD. Cold and factual. "Frank, per your previous compliance submission, we've completed log review. Internal timestamps confirm device misuse occurred during VPN sessions initiated under David Reed's access credentials, matched against your travel receipts and confirmed by IP logs. Best, legal. If Dave had tried to pin any of it on me, it would have died right there. Paper doesn't lie. I kept the wedding ring. Not on display or anything. It lived in a box in a junk drawer next to old receipts and a broken flashlight. I didn't keep it out of nostalgia. It was a marker, a reminder that I'd stepped out of the trap before it snapped shut. Sometimes, when I let my mind wander, I think about that white plaster wall. The second the room realized I wasn't the background brother anymore. I wasn't soft. I wasn't safe. I had my line, and they watched me draw it. And yeah, on certain days, bad ones mostly, I think about Casey slipping in her dress soaking up dog piss while half the guest list stared. It's not my proudest memory, but I'm not sorry either. I'm human. I left that city with my truck, my dog, and nothing else I couldn't carry. No baggage, no secrets, no extra noise. That was the whole win. Everything after that? Just building something honest and quiet. One straight cut at a time. When trust shatters, would you expose the truth or walk away? Comment your choice. And please subscribe and like if this resonated. It's crucial for us. One click for you. Thanks for listening.
YouTube picked this for you. Tap it. Let's see if they guessed right.